Hey everyone, this is either going to be a terrible, terrible idea, or a really good one. I am doing a sort of how-to on doing a loop animation for a single pose. So it's going to be, I guess if I had, it's an animation with a single keyframe as the base. And for those of you who don't know what a keyframe is, I don't know how to explain it. I didn't study this stuff. I'm just here to show you how I do my thing. And obviously it's not scripted. I'm doing this after I went running, so I'm also exhausted. So this can only go well. This can only go well. So let's start with a pose. I guess we'll go with my character. Why not? Why not? We'll go with my character, CriticaLink. Yeah, what kind of pose do we want? What kind of pose? Now, normally when you're animating a character, most people have an idle stance that has 2 keyframes at least for the character to alternate between, but for mine, I go with 1, because the head of the character is usually static on my character just because, he's made of metal, so metal doesn't move much. Makes sense, right? So most of the animation goes to the cloth around the neck, if you can call it a neck. There is a body under my character that I don't really show. It's like, it's a little furnace. It's a little furnace. That's what my character looks like underneath the cloak. Because the character is a furnace. I don't know if you guys realize that. I tried to make it somewhat clear in the design, because the face, whenever he smiles, has the little grills or whatever. I don't know what those things are called. But, yeah. We're gonna be animating this. I just gotta decide on a pose. Most of the animation is going to be the cloth again. So, let's figure this out. Now, one thing about my character's design is that, all the previous animations were done in segments, so that's mostly because of the chain around my character's neck. But for this one, I'm going to try to animate it as a whole. I won't necessarily use this animation in any of my videos. This is mostly just a tutorial thing. I'm not going to go full color. But, you know, for those of you interested in doing animation loops, you might find it useful. This is more of an animation tutorial on how to animate cloth, I guess, because I have this weird fixation on animating cloth lately. Couldn't tell you why. But it's I guess it just moves in an interesting way. That's more or less the gist of it. I'm in a foul mood, so I'll just make my character in a foul mood. Why not? I'm not going to mess with the steam that I sometimes come out of his head. The gas, steam, whatever you want to call it. I guess since it's a furnace, there wouldn't be steam. It would be like smoke or something. And fire inside my character's eye. That's an important part of the design, because like I said, furnace, yes. Well, I guess a wistful breeze is like, oh man, this is frustrating. So the wind will be blowing to the side, I guess, for this one, because why not? I don't think I've done that kind of animation for this, so yeah, we'll do that. I'm not going to animate it in Photoshop. This is just for drafting the pose and whatnot. I'm also not going to go full color, so forgive me. Yeah. This is my process. So most people, when they're drafting animations, they'll use blue, but for some reason, I like to use red. I don't know why. I don't know why people use blue either, really. I guess it's easier on the eyes. Red just jumps out at me, so it's easier for me to trace over when I move it over to the next software. Yeah, I think that'll do for a pose. It's like indifference. I don't think I'll keep this, but that's what we'll go with for now. Indifference. It's important that I get the little pattern down on the cloth down here. Get the little half circle going on like that. considered animating something different just for fun, but no, we'll just keep things simple. We'll just keep things simple with my character design. I give this character the nickname CL just because CriticaLink is kind of long. I also don't call myself by my character's name in my videos most of the time. Sometimes I'll like say I'm Link or something, but that's like a holdover from my old channel. It works just as well because CriticaLink, yes. Just rambling bullshit. Let's move on to the animation software. This pose will do for now. Alright, we good? We're good. Hey guys, how's it going? We've resumed. I finished moving everything over into Toon Boom Harmony. That's the animation software I use for those wondering. And now we're going to actually animate this character. I already composed the entire palette over on the right. And yeah, we're going to be working on this now. Final line work phase. And we'll start with this keyframe because it's the one that's already complete. Nope, not thick enough. I want that to be a 10. I like to do the rough first so it's easier for me to do this without having to think too much. This first layer I'm working on is going to be for the metal. I'm sorry that this isn't really an instruction on how to operate the software, because that's a whole nother thing. I can't really teach you how to draw either, because that's just something you acquire through practice. I've been drawing since I was like 3, so I've had a lot of time to get used to it. As for animation, I started in like, I want to say 2012. It was crap Photoshop gifts that no longer exist, but I did animate. I even have an old channel that features some of my shitty Photoshop animations as well. Good luck finding it though. I'll give you a clue, it has a link in the title. Yeah, good luck. And Dan, I know you know what the channel is. Don't tell anyone. It's secret. Maybe I'll reveal it one day. Although I won't be too cross about it if somebody does reveal it. I really don't care. It's just garbage. It's just my old garbage, and like we all should do, we should take out the trash and just get rid of it. I want to get rid of it, but no, it has too much sentimental value. It shows my growth as an artist over time. I actually started animating almost as soon as I got into digital arts. Before that, I drew solely on paper, and the shift took quite a while, because drawing digitally is very different from drawing on paper. Doesn't really matter what kind of tablet you have. I've been using a Cintiq since 2013, I'd say. And that's when I really got into the digital animation stuff, and it took quite a while to adjust. I still wouldn't say I'm great at it, since I don't usually have a lot of time to practice, since I've either been in university, working, or working on videos constantly. So I use whatever excuse I can to get some animation in. So whenever I do animate or draw, I try to use a new technique so I can actually learn something. That's probably the most important thing you can take away from this, is that if you're trying to learn how to animate or draw or whatever, every time you try to do something, always try to change it up a bit. Don't just practice drawing the same thing over and over. You'll grow more as an artist if you try different things. Try foreshortening, different coloring styles, different software, whatever you can do within the bounds of possibility for yourself. I know finances are an issue. I spend way too much money on this. I actually gone broke before on this stuff. But yeah, this first layer is going to be for the metal part of my character. So that part's going to be staying still. Let's see. Okay, next. Now, this is strictly a thing about Toon Boom, so you don't really need to worry about it too much if you're not using it. I'm going to turn on this, and then I'm going to draw these little lines that are practically invisible because they tell the computer where to fill in the paint when I apply it. I'm going to try to keep the coloring consistent with the normal style that I use for my videos, so you guys can know what I do, like I said earlier. And hopefully this video won't be too terrible. I'll try to speed up things whenever I start slowing down with talking too much, but yeah, hopefully this will be useful. I'm pretty proud of the style I developed because it's simple enough. I'm looking into getting Adobe Animate again because it's easier for storyboarding with audio, but for animation by itself, Toon Boom is fantastic, and it's the only animation software that's good that I'm aware of that actually offers permanent licenses instead of the monthly fees, which can be cheaper if you get the student discount, which is what I did right before I graduated. So it's pretty useful. It's pretty useful. It's so convenient. Like you see the palette over on the right over here where I'm clicking. If you change any of that after you've already filled over on the palette, it'll actually change it across the entire animation wherever that color has been used. It's fantastic. Unlike other software like Adobe Animate where you have to refill it if you got the color wrong or whatnot. So it's just way more convenient. That's what makes it so great. Okay, now we're going to fill this with Metal 2, which is for my hard shading. It might not look great at the moment, but it will after we apply the other colors. The outline is blue because I actually, even though I don't do roughs in blue, I do use it for my animations because it does pop a bit more across the red. It contrasts it really well. And right now we're going to add my character's little... Nope, that's not quite right. We're going to add my character's shine on his head because he's metallic and whatnot. We're going to add that, go down around here, there we go. And add one here, and one here. These ones won't be moving because, like I said earlier, this is on metal. And I got another palette right there for the shine. And there we go. Nope, I forgot a spot. There we go. Now this part's not too important. I'm just going to fill this in with the darker shade. Because it's not important. It's not important. I'm only going to be working in, like, I think 3 layers for this, probably. I'll add more if I can, if I feel like it, but that's the current plan. This is probably going to be an 11 frame animation. That's 11 frames on 2s, not 11 frames out of 24 seconds. It's still going to be close to a, like 22 frames total, but only 11 will actually be drawn. But that's what I do for my other animations in the videos too, for my character. Yeah. Maybe I will use this. Maybe I will use this. Now you'll think, oh man, that gradient looks terrible. That's completely opposite the direction it normally faces, and you're right. You're right. Which is why you need the edit gradient texture. You grab that. You want to pull that out. You want to make sure you highlight all of it. It's not going to affect the solid colors on the palette, but it will affect anything with a gradient that you light up. And since I only use like one gradient per section, it's not usually a bad thing. So what I normally do is I set the light color up top, and I make the darkest color of the gradient match the shadows. So I can pull it down, it'll have that effect, so it like bleeds in perfectly, and I don't have to put in too much extra work into getting additional colors for it. And yeah, that's how I colored the metallic part of my character. The method is pretty much the same across the board, but the sheen isn't going to be across the other parts. And for now, we'll, let's see. I'm going to fill that in. And we'll name this level Metal. And lock it so it doesn't get edited. And let's move up. And the next layer will be Cloth. Yeah, that should do. Now for now we're going to make that invisible. Yes, we're making it invisible. You don't want to keep everything visible if you're working on multiple layers, because it can create a mess, especially if it's over your rough, because then you can't really see what you're supposed to be drawing. So next we're doing the cloth. Now this one, the cloth is actually going to be animated, as I said earlier. So it's really important that I get this right. If I go quiet, it's just because I'm trying to concentrate on the animation, but it's not going to get too animated until I've at least finished tracing over the rough. Oh, tracing? Why would you trace? That's such a terrible thing to do. I didn't know you were a horrible person. Shut up. Shut up. I actually did learn a new technique since I animated all my avatars. I stupidly did not know how to use masking in the software when I started, so that's something I learned a bit later. It's incredibly useful. If you don't know what masking is, figure it out as fast as possible. For the love of God. Because it is so useful for animation. Like, you don't even know. Like, trying to shade and add patterns to things when you don't have masking is a freaking nightmare. Yeah, we're not going to add in the chain. That's going to go on a separate layer, which is going to be animated, because I don't want to overcomplicate this. For now, that will do for this part of the animation. So, let's see. We'll make that invisible for now. Do the onion skin so you can still see it. What we want to do... do I want this to be the end frame, or do I want this to be the starting frame of the animation? Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this. This isn't going to be immediately after this frame. I'm just going to point that out now, but it's still important. So. We're gonna animate it to give it a waving effect, sort of. And we're gonna go down there. Now, one thing that might turn off some people from animating or trying it is that you have to draw the same thing multiple times, and if you're not using motion tweens, that's true. I'm personally a big fan of traditional animation, so that's why I do it this way. But yeah, it's perfectly okay if you don't want to animate. It's just a thing I like to do for fun. It's a hobby. I don't actually do this professionally. My degree's in criminal justice, because I don't have a ton of money, so that was the cheapest degree I could afford to get. I actually was in fine arts for a bit, but it just bored the hell out of me, and I ended up dropping out. I wouldn't say I'm not proud of it, but yeah, you know. I did get a lot of practice in on animating when I wasn't attending classes, though, so that's nice. But we don't talk about those. Those are dark times. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not too happy with how that turned out, so let's do that. No, I want that slightly over to the right, so that looks like it's being affected by the wind as well. That's being blown up. No. Yeah, up. That will curl up like that. I'm not really great at animating physics, but I do really enjoy cloth because it just moves in such an interesting way. Like, it's kind of interesting animating a effect like this, because you can't just do the in-betweens, because you'll just have an animation that loops back and forth instead of flowing into itself. what you want to do is create a flow. You want to envision it where this is the starting point and the end point. So you want it to basically go that way and then loop back around to being that. So you're just riding the wave, basically. That's the best way I can think to explain it. That's probably confusing. I know I'm confused. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's delete that too. Yeah, don't be afraid to scrap things that you're not happy with in an animation. That's also very important. Because doing it the other way is an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Let's see. How do I want to animate this part of the cloth? If the wind is coming that way, then I probably want to... You know what? Yeah, we'll scrap that too. I'm happy with the position of that right now, so we're going to keep that. The wind direction is going to go to the right, though, so what we want to do... Yeah, now we're talking, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with fire. Nintendo fire. Wait, no, that's not how the slogan goes. No, you want that a bit higher up, so I want that to fray out a bit. That's gonna blow back a lot, so we're gonna have that go there, like that. Let's see, cutter tool. Nope. Thanks, computer. This is the nightmare of animating. Welcome to hell, as we say, I guess. Do we say that? I don't freaking know. Let's see. Yeah, since that was the starting animation over there, we're going to want that to go up. No. It needs to be a bigger curve. Do I want it higher up? Because I got to sell the animation from underneath the cloak as well. It can't just be on the top because of the position I drew this in. Why don't you just change the position? Because it's more interesting. It's a challenge. Now, it's okay to do the in-between for this part. It's okay to do that. We're going to reduce that to 22. That's about right. Okay, we're going to do the in-between here. This is the only part where you're allowed to in-between like this, because in-betweening for the rest of the animation is very different. This is exclusive to cloth though, because you can animate other loops differently, and you can have them like basically mirror themselves, and it'll still look fine. What you generally want to do, I guess we'll get into that with the next frame. The first in between isn't quite as important as the follow-ups, but that's what we're doing here is the in betweens. Hopefully this animation won't run long. I was considering getting food between transferring the stuff over to this, because I'm starving after having ran, but, you know. Starving a hungry artist, etc. That's a saying, right? You starve the hungry artist, you don't give them food. The freaking foul human beings. Artists are terrible people, if you didn't know. Absolutely awful. Now, since this is an in-between, you generally want to follow the arc from the second frame rather than the first one, so this one will have a bit more of an upward curve. I guess this is more a cloth animation tutorial, more than anything. So, for those of you wanting to learn how to animate cloth, here you go. It's not... Yeah, that's what I'll call a video. Animating cloth in 2D. There you go. There's your video title. Just like in the movies. Just like in the cartoon. If you can't tell, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. That will, in fact, work. Fill that in. And drag that over there. Delete that. Move that up there. Wait. No. I was right the first time. Yeah, what you want to do, which I didn't do with my other animation, was if you're trying to do a more robust kinetic movement, you actually want to do the in-between as a follow-up and have the initial frame be more drastic and slow down as you go, so that's what we're going to do next. We're going to do a few in-betweens. We're going to do at least 2 more, I think. 2 more should suffice, I believe. And then we'll move on to the return to frame 1, where the wind will re-catch it and start blowing it again. I actually render all of these things as MOVs, because I can actually pre-multiply the background in my videos, so even if they're backgroundless on here, I don't have to worry about it. I learned a lot when I started doing this channel. And that's a good thing. I like to learn. Stay in school, kids, or just read books. I'm not too fond of the education system, honestly. I'm actually looking to move to Japan at some point, hopefully. In the next couple of years, maybe. Their education system's, it's better. It's more rigorous, but it'll be good. It'll be good in the future. Nothing I need to worry about right now, though. Yeah. If you want to really sell a movement, especially a kinetic one, you want it to start out fast and slow down as it goes. So that really depends on the motion you're trying to convey. Really, as long as it looks good to you, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah. There's another in between here. And the Cintiq I use is the Cintiq 13 HD because it's the cheapest. I think it's actually down like to half of what it was when I got it. I think it was $1,000 when I bought it. My dad helped me out by splitting the cost. It's still freaking expensive, but it's down to $600 now. So if you can afford to get one and you're interested in doing digital art, I definitely recommend it. Although if you're just kind of getting into it, don't worry about getting a cheaper brand because they're still useful. There's nothing really wrong with getting a cheaper brand. Oh, I messed up. Hang on. I forgot to animate that bit. Hang on. There we go. Perfect. Pull that back over there. Delete that. And move that frame back in. Expect to make mistakes whenever you're doing digital art for the first time. I know I made a lot of garbage before I got decent at it. I wouldn't say I'm good. I would not say I'm good. Probably because I switched to animation before I even mastered digital painting and whatnot. The things some people can do with digital art is freaking insane. Like, I hate DeviantArt, but goddamn, some of those people are just fucking amazing. I don't know how they do it. I guess they put a lot of time into it. That's probably what it is. I'm not a very patient person. I like to do things fast and then slow down once I'm able to afford to work for longer periods. Like, if this channel actually does well at some point, I'd like to put more time into my videos and maybe slow down the release schedule. I'm going to test that out this summer with Summer RPGs. I'm going to do an official announcement at some point, but for those of you watching this, that's the plan. Let me know what you think. I'm planning on covering Pokemon, Persona 3, AU Senki. There's something else. What was it? I can't remember. Yeah, whatever. Let's see. That. Nope. That was overdoing it. Nope. Still overdoing it. There we go. And got one more in between for that section, and then we're going to do the return, which is going to be animated differently. You don't want to loop an animation for cloth blowing back, because then it just looks clunky and awkward. So you got to do it pretty much all by hand. I really love animating cloth. It's very relaxing. Like, I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, sort of. It's like a retirement area. I'm a young guy, so it's kind of frustrating to me, because there's no other animators. I know one other animator in the area, but that's about it. It's just not like it works in the field or anything, so I can't find anyone with experience other than my friend Dan. If you haven't watched Dan Root, go check him out. Throw him a few subs. He's trying to get to 10K, and he's pretty close, so yeah, definitely go check him out. He's kind of like, I guess he does animated avatars as well, and he has really good production values. I want to say his videos remind me of Mark Brown's, if Mark Brown focused on animation. I don't really like comparing people to one another, but I think that's a compliment. Don't take that the wrong way, Dan. I know you're watching, probably. Maybe. I don't know why you'd watch a video on how I animate, but hello. Hello. Say hello in the comments so I can pin it or something. I don't know. I don't know how to internet. I gotta start with this. Yeah, nice thing about nice thing about Toon Boom is that instead of using Control plus and minus to zoom in and out like you do with most art software, you can actually use 1 and 2 for zooming, which is really useful. It's really useful. I don't know why this line's giving me so much shit. Probably because it's so fine. Nope, not quite. Welcome to my personal hell. I'm probably not going to actually add the pattern to this, maybe. No, I'll do it. I hate myself enough. I'll do it. And I'll show you what we got so far. Yeah, it doesn't look great, right? And now we're going to start on the return. The Return of the Sith. I actually don't like Star Wars that much. Blasphemy, I know. Now, for the return, we're going to use the starting frame as the end frame. So, that's going to be fun. Starting frame was the down position? The down position. Okay. I hope this won't look too awkward, but it's not really important. I probably won't use this animation after all. I don't know. We'll see how the end result looks and go from there. And hopefully this video won't be fucking ages old. Because that would be horrific. You'd be surprised how many different ideas I scrap whenever I'm animating. I spent like a week or two on the original roughs for the first set of emotes I did for the channel, because I wanted them to be just right. I spent like a good 2 or 3 days on the character design, I'm a bit bothered whenever people compare it to Hollow Knight, since that wasn't even a thought when I was saying, oh geez, I just got a bunch of notifications on YouTube. I guess I'm gonna have to go look at what those are in a bit. Because I am obsessed with my channel growth. Don't you know? Nope, that doesn't look good. I gotta rotate that. I wanna get a good look at this. Hopefully this animation session won't last too long. I don't want to upload another hour-long video. Now really how you animate Cloth depends on the action being performed, which is important to remember. That's the in between. Now this is important. So let's see. For the interior right here, where the curve is most obvious, you don't want to draw the in-between. You want to ease into it. So you want to start over here and keep the line going past like that. It's very important. Very important. Everything's very important that I say. Take everything I say as gospel. No, don't do that. That would be terrible for you as an artist, and just in general, because I'm not that great. You're probably better. I wish more artists did. Streams and stuff of how they animate. If you didn't know, Harry Partridge actually has an animation stream that he does. So if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. Watching him animate is a sight to behold, and if you want to kick him some scratch, it'll help him produce his videos more often, which is always nice for animators. Animators really need support these days on YouTube, or just in general, because it's a really rough industry if you don't work in a studio. Solo animators have it real bad. Harry Partridge is easily the most impressive. I know Ego Raptor is probably more popular, I think. That's mostly because of Game Grumps, I think. It's a shame, because Ego Raptor had a really good thing going with this channel. I remember hearing in a Game Grumps episode or something that he's quit doing Sequelitis because it became popular. Which is... Aaron... I love your stuff, man, but that's a terrible reason to not do it. I hope you were just joking. Like, why would you I know you don't animate to do something to make it popular, but... that it helps make it so you can do the thing more if you enjoy doing it. Don't... By that logic, you should have stopped Game Grumps a long time ago. Don't do that. People love your stuff, Aaron. You're not watching this. What am I talking about? You wouldn't watch my shit. My shitty-ass shit. The shittiest of ass shit. This stream is... This isn't a stream. This video is going great. Yeah, maybe I could stream art. I can't stream games because I drop frames like a motherfucker, but with an art video, I don't think it would be too bad, probably? I don't know. I have to look into it. Because I do like to draw a lot. Especially now that I got out of my rut. Which happened like sometime late last year. Despite me having graduated like in the middle of last year. It's kind of funny to me. It's unfortunate. I was in a rut for like 3 or 4 years. It was fucking awful. Just a bunch of scrapped ideas. And then my hard drive died last year. Rather than like get me down because I lost everything I had ever created, I actually doubled down and got even more intense and created this channel. So good things can come from disaster, I suppose. You see the curve starting to come back on the inside of the cape right there. Again, it's important to remember to do that. And now for the next in-between. Hope I didn't forget anything on the last layer. Nope, doesn't look like it. That's good. I like to do the first line work whenever I do this, because you don't want to work on patterns until you got the motion down. And you're going to get most of the general motion down just by doing the keyframes and in-betweens. One thing that I noticed whenever I watch Harry Partridge stream though is that he doesn't use onion skin. I can't fathom why. I know it's not super traditional to use onion skin, because usually you just flip back to the last page animated, but you know, it's useful. It's a useful tool. I'm gonna have to ask him sometime if I'm ever able to watch one of his streams. He'll donate some money to do a super chat or something. Because I am genuinely curious why he doesn't use it. Like, he still flips back and forth between frames. So, I don't really get it. Gotta get that. Hopefully this animation won't look too clunky. That's kind of what I'm concerned about. Because of all the sharp motions. I'm probably not going to actually use this, but it should give you a general idea of how cloth is animated. And zoom out there. I fucking love rotating screens like that. Feels amazing. Amazing. Nope, I did that too soon. Sorry, some of this sounds like I'm just whispering because I have my head next to the screen when I do this. It is what it is. Nope. Okay. If I get bored, I'll probably start singing or humming or something. I won't whistle because that. Oh, I did whistle just a second ago, but because whistling sounds fucking awful on a microphone if you don't have the right one. Don't do that, kids. Trust me. Don't trust me. Why do I keep contradicting myself? Got me something true now, I'm not looking anymore. The times of faking love are gone now, sharing real connections, what we're made for. Come on, let go of the remote, don't you know you're running all the junk we didn't time. We're still on the go, but it's no use saying, being consumed. Then I went with the flow, double trouble on the go, posers kept posing, opposing against these foes, please no these roses sprung up wrapped from the concrete jungle. Not a day goes by without me thinking about the way the world stopped mid-motion. When you walk into my life and we connected like we shared that same mad potion. You knew how to move the threads of fate that spun us into each other's eyes by chance. All this energy's got us inspired me. We couldn't stop it, just say it the ending. I hope you enjoyed my terrible singing. Probably just gonna be singing a bunch of weed shit. Like Persona music. Like I just did. That's Dance from Persona 4 Dancing All Night for those curious. Listen to the actual song, it's far better. Tried to run me through, hold up. Think again, don't you know what will happen? But sure ain't got the clue how bad this will go for you now. Know my art of war, and as you look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then stormy weather's got you cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around. It was not quite what you foretold. You'll never see it coming. You'll see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done in. By the time it's hit you, you're a surprise. Ooh. Better think about your game. Are you sure your next move's the right one for you? Are you sure you won't get outmaneuvered again and again, my friend? Yeah, that looks pretty good. You'll never see it coming. Yeah, that'll do for the fall-off animation. Yeah, I have it set to loop, so that's what the final thing will look like, just for the general motion. It's pretty important. I'm drinking a Coke Zero. Forgive me. 45 minutes into a video, I gotta drink something. Yeah, I think that actually turned out okay. And next we'll be working on the patterns and the shading. Primarily the shading first, since that's the most important bit. And we have to do this for every frame, so it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're going to animate the shadow too, because I hate myself. It's not a very pragmatic decision. Yep, I messed up that line. Hang on. How did you mess it up? That's not consistent with the shading I use on my other videos. For those wondering, let me look at the shading on here. Yeah, we're going to have to... Yeah, now you're talking my language. I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in with the cloth 2 color. I'm probably gonna have to go back over this. Maybe I should start on the chain animation first. So otherwise this is gonna be a huge mess. Or I could just not shade for the chain. Fine. We'll do the chain. We'll do the chain to appease you. Are you happy? I'm not. No, I'm exaggerating, obviously. For this, I'll keep the chain still. Normally I like to animate it, but since I'm not probably going to use this animation, I'm just going to do it half-assed. I'll color it and everything like I normally do, but I'm not gonna animate it. Because I animate that frame by frame, and if you've ever drawn a chain, it's annoying. Like even my chains as they are kind of sloppy, just because I don't feel like going overboard with making them look super good or anything. Now, normally I would use the, what's that tool called again? Whatever I was using to draw those invisible lines. I normally use that, but for the chain, since the color of the chain is going to be the same as the final line work color, I normally just draw in like this. Because it doesn't look good now, but you're not going to see those lines later, so it doesn't really matter too much. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. Alright, actually, nope, that's not how I do that. I go like that. Yeah, for the far right, because the shading is darker on the side, there's less light reflected. And that's important. That is important. I did forget to do that. And a little bit there. A of that, and add in the shine. Really wish I knew how to use special effects to give it a bit more of a sheen, but you know, it works. It'll get the job done. Let's see. I don't have to worry about being too on the nose with the shading for the chain on the cloth, because the cloth is going to be moving, so it doesn't have to be consistent across all of the parts of it, which is convenient for me. It's convenient. Yeah, that looks fine. That looks fair. And we're going to make that invisible again. Onion skin. I don't really need that. No, I do need that for the right. That's right. That. The shading is the worst part for most animators, and I 100% understand. It can definitely be a nightmare, especially. I should really take away from Harry on this, because he has a separate layer for shading. He just has like an opacity for it, but nope, I have to draw the shading in by hand, because I'm stupid like that. I am, in fact, stupid like that. Go down like that. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's do that. There we go. Oh, nope. It's important that when this tool, you have to make sure that it lines up with it has to intersect with another line, otherwise you're just leaving an opening for paint to spill out. And you know what happens when paint spills. It gets all over the place and makes everything look terrible. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Especially not me. I'm gonna animate this shit. Like I said, it's allowed to be a bit jittery looking. But actually the shading will amplify the look of the cloth when it's animated. It'll give it a bit more of a natural appearance than just the line work, which is pretty important for cloth. I wish I had more time, but you know, this will work for what I'm doing. I'm thinking of going full animated this summer if I have. Well, I will definitely have time, so I'm thinking of going full animated. I'm gonna have to get Adobe Animate if I do. But I'll look forward to that if it happens. If not, prepare for more of the same. Which is not bad. It's not bad to be more of the same. There we go. There we go. That looks fine. Whew. Yeah, sorry this is so quiet. I'm not used to talking while I animate, especially. I have a hard enough time doing that with the speed drawing, since I think the speed drawing actually required more focus of me, so this isn't too bad, honestly. But talking over extended periods of time can be a bit exhausting. And maybe we should bring on a guest next time. That would be fun. Hey Dan, you want to be a guest on an art video sometime? That'd be fun, I think. It wouldn't necessarily be talking over my art, maybe some combination. It could be horrific. You know, Jaden Animation does that thing, and it looks pretty fun. Well, maybe it'd be worth a shot if you have the time. Hit me up. Also, I think my Twitter DMs are open, so if you ever go on Twitter and want to follow me, feel free to talk to me, because I like to talk a lot, literally. I won't shut up if you get me going. I just love talking. That's more of a warning than anything. It's basically like signing a deal with the devil or something. Once you start, there's no getting out of it until I get bored. I think that's how it works. This is looking good so far. Pretty happy with how this is turning out. Although, I am going to want... Yeah, I'm going to need that. There we go. Always remember to lock your layers, because that will prevent you from fucking them up while you're working on the other layers on the animations. And you don't want to do that, because it's horrific. Literally, just ask any animator, it's a nightmare. You like go, ugh, it's slightly inconvenient, and then you go back and redo it. Or you realize super late, and then you go like, yeah, and just cry all day. As animators often do. I don't, because I work in the cutting room, but life is what it is. If the summer RPGs thing does not happen, it is because I have gone to basic training, because I'm trying to join the military. If animation ever does become profitable for me, it probably won't become a full-time job anytime soon. It'll probably be years away. Because the military takes commitment, and it's a means by which I will be able to get where I want to go in life. And there are like no jobs in my field down here, so it's virtually useless. I just want to get out of this town, because the town I live in is fucking miserable. At least for young people. Old people that are retired, it's not too bad. It's a pleasant enough place. It's just not good if you want to spread your wings, see the world, learn things, find work. Since this is like a military retiree place, every job, even if you have a field that's highly demanded, you're not going to find it, because you have to compete with everyone that has military experience, and that's literally everyone but you. It's awful. It's awful. I hate the job market. It is the worst. Like, good on them, because they really do deserve the priority for getting jobs, but it's still upsetting. It's still upsetting. I guess that'll be me one day anyway. No, I guess it won't, because I plan on leaving once I get to Japan. Well, not once I get there, but I plan on easing out after my contract with them is done and whatnot. That's the plan. Unless I really like the job, then I might stick around for a while. I take my work very seriously, even if it's just a means to an end. I take a lot of pride in my work ethic. If you're the type of person that slacks off at your job and you're getting paid, fuck off. Fuck off. You got a job to do, and it's not that hard to put in the effort. Like, I know some jobs are just shit and you don't want to be there, and if that's the case, just quit. Just quit if you can find a better job. But as long as you're there, put in your best effort. People will really appreciate it, especially if you're on a closing shift, because if you fuck up then, or you don't get stuff done, it hurts people in the morning and then just comes back to bite you in the ass. Take that from somebody that worked in the grocery industry for the last, I think it's 7 years now. God. If I can just escape working in grocery, I will be a happy man. We're about done animating the shading, so that's good. This video is probably going to go a bit over an hour, I think. Which is unfortunate. Yeah, we just hit the hour mark right now. I'll try to edit it down so it won't be too far over an hour, but the shading definitely takes a lot of time, as you're seeing right here. At least the way I do it. I'm probably not animating shading in the smartest way, but it works. Gets the job done. I'll probably cut. Oh no, I won't do the pattern. That'd take too much time for this. We'll just stop at the cloth for now. Well, animating patterns is fun. I just don't want this video to be super long, so we'll just call it at the pattern. And I might use this animation if I ever feel like finishing it, because it is turning out very okay. Very okay indeed. That's an overshoot. There we go. Yeah, I actually tried to look for other small animation channels on YouTube, and they're practically non-existent. So if you're another animation channel, definitely feel free to message me, because I am looking for you. It is very hard to get noticed if you're a small animation channel, and I want to spotlight ones that actually are decent. If you know of any, if you are one and you watch me, definitely let me know either in the comments or on Twitter. Probably Twitter. Because I do want to draw attention to you guys. It's really rough out there for animators. Especially ones that want to seek a career in it. Somewhere down the line, I want to start my own animation studio and a restaurant. Animation studio working out of the restaurant, actually. That's the dream. I also want to get into game development. I want to do a lot of things before I kick the bucket. Got a very busy life ahead of me. And a very busy life. At some point I want to move to Hokkaido, but I'm going to have to move to Tokyo first. That's for sure. Here in Hokkaido is beautiful. I actually had a friend that went to the Snow Festival last year, and he said it was great. He was in the Navy, so he was stationed over there when he went to that. He was on vacation, of course, when he went to the festival, but he lived in Tokyo for a while. So yeah, it sounds amazing. Everything I've heard from him just makes me want to go there all the more. I was actually born in Tokyo, but I only was there for like a couple of years, so I don't really have too many memories of it. It's mostly just word of mouth from my parents about how I had Mount Fuji out my window and whatnot. Ah, if only I could remember that. That would be amazing. And this should be the last frame I need to do this for, so that's going to be nice. There we go. There we go. There we go. You might not notice this, but actually one of my animations in my videos is missing one tiny bit of shading. So if you can figure out which one it is, let me know. I know which one it is. I'm not telling. It's my little Easter egg. This is a secret between us. Only us and anyone that's listening to the video. Because anyone that made it this far in the video deserves to know that I fucked up, and nobody seems to have noticed, which is good. I generally depend on people not noticing my fuck-ups. Like that time I had sample text written on screen, which was entirely on purpose, I assure you. It was certainly not a mistake I made during editing. Certainly not. Was that even a video that's out yet? I think it is. I think it's in my Zelda 2 video, actually. Funnily enough, I usually have my videos scheduled so far in advance that I don't even know when they go up half the time. I'm usually like out doing stuff, like going shopping or something. Eating food. I like eating a lot. Who doesn't like eating, though? If you don't like eating, you might want to go see a doctor. Just letting you know. Yeah. That should do. And now we work on adjusting the shading. Now, this is obviously going to look a bit better once I have the pattern on it, but we're not going to do that. Not this time. But it does make it look a little bit better, because it has the contrast and whatnot. And we're doing the same thing I did with the gradient on the other layer. Just gonna fill it all in, use the gradient adjuster. Stretch it out all the way to the bottom, all the way. It can look a bit inconsistent at times, but it's hardly noticeable because I don't know how to get the precise angle I want, but it's good enough. Unless I'm just stupidly missing the angle input, or I can just enter it manually to 90 degrees. Nope, that was the wrong tool. At that spot. I should probably want to make that go a bit darker. Yeah, we'll add another layer for darker cloth. That'll do. Now, one thing you'll learn about me is that I really like contrast. Contrast is very, I guess it's not really a secret. Contrast is very important when you're drawing. You want things to pop. Like, there's some beautiful art out there, but sometimes I've seen like really detailed art that uses like a homogenized color scheme where nothing really stands out, and it's like, man, that's really well done, but it doesn't really stand out. It's kind of disappointing when that happens. Maybe I'm just pressuring my own opinions on others, but it's just preferences, I guess. Maybe some people like more homogenized color schemes that kind of flow into themselves and whatnot. I like things that pop. I like things that pop. And blue and white on blue pops. Also, that weird teal. I actually used a gray before for the metal color, but I switched to teal shortly after when I started animating because I wasn't happy. And my animation software lets me tinker around with the colors more easily than my drawing software. So, that's nice. We're about to wrap this up. Finally. I think it should be either May or close to May by the time this goes out, so I hope you all enjoy it. Hopefully the next monster from Monster Hunter will be out by then too. Yes, I'm still playing that. I don't plan on quitting anytime soon, not until they stop adding content. I just don't play as regularly as I did at launch. But, you know, it is what it is. They actually just added the Mega Man skin for the Palico at time of talking. Oh, I forgot to adjust that. Glad I caught that. That would have looked awkward. Yep, right. Hang on. Well, I guess I won't be keeping that animation after all, because guess what happened the moment I paused recording? The software crashed and I forgot to save! I'm a genius! Oh well. I guess that'll do for the cloth tutorial. I'm sorry you didn't get to see the full colored version in motion, but... it's something. Yeah, sorry, that's the end of the video. Have a great night. I hope the video lit a fire under you, etc. Next week is Dark Souls. And I'm gonna go be bummed out because I lost.